Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive, a really data-driven look at the gaming performance of a phone that's got a lot of people talking, the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G.
And we're really here to answer the big question, the one every mobile gamer has when they see this device. Can a phone that's not a flagship actually give you a top-tier, flagship-level gaming experience?
So to get to the bottom of it, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with what Xiaomi promises it can do, then we'll hit it with the hard numbers, throw some real games at it, see how it handles the heat, check in with what actual users are saying, and then we'll give you our final verdict.
All right, first things first, let's look at the promises. What does Xiaomi claim you're getting as a gamer right out of the box?
And you know, looking at the spec sheet, it's pretty impressive for a phone in this bracket. You've got that MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Ultra chip, a gorgeous 1.5K AMOLED screen rocking 120Hz refresh rate, and this massive vapor chamber for cooling. So, what's their big claim? Simple, a smooth mobile gaming experience.
Okay, so specs on paper are one thing, but now it's time for our first big reality check, the synthetic benchmark tests. How does all that power actually translate into raw, cold, hard numbers?
Well, check this out. Across a bunch of different independent tests, the Note 13 Pro Plus is consistently hitting an Antutu score right around 723,000. Now that is a really solid number. It puts this phone firmly in the upper tier of mid-range performance.
And this right here, this is exactly why we're focusing on the Pro Plus model today and not just the regular Pro. See, the standard Redmi Note 13 Pro, it's running a Snapdragon 7S Gen 2, and it scores around 580,000. I mean, that is a huge performance gap. It's that Dimensity 7200 Ultra in the Pro Plus that really makes it a serious gaming contender.
So, the crucial point is, do those impressive benchmark scores actually mean anything when you're deep in a game? Let's find out. It's time to run the in-game gauntlet. And we are starting with the ultimate test, the phone killer itself, Genshin Impact. We're talking graphics cranked to the absolute max, targeting a silky smooth 60 frames per second. And the result, testers describe the gameplay as very smooth. But there was one catch. The screen apparently started getting warm almost right away.
All right, so we can handle a big open world. But what about fast-paced shooters? In games like PUBG Mobile and Call of Duty, with the graphics pushed to max or Ultra HDR, well, reports say it handled everything with no stress at all. Just smooth gameplay.
And for our final in-game test, we've got a real beast, the notoriously demanding CarX Street. Even here, with the settings all the way up, the phone was said to handle the game rather well. Testers noted it was a mostly smooth experience, with just some slight stuttering every now and then. Pretty impressive.
Okay, so the performance is clearly there. But as any gamer knows, raw power doesn't mean a thing if your phone turns into a hot potato and starts to lag. So how does the Note 13 Pro Plus survive the heat check?
Now, let's go back to that promise from Xiaomi, right? They made a huge deal about their cooling system, claiming unrivaled heat dissipation because of that big vapor chamber. Let's see if the data agrees. So after about a half hour of really pushing it with intense gaming, testers pulled out the thermal cameras. They found spots on the surface hitting as high as 46 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that's definitely warm enough that you're going to feel it in your hands.
But, and this is the really important part, even though it got that warm, performance only throttled by a tiny 8%. That is an amazing result. It tells us that while the phone's body gets hot, the cooling system is actually doing its job and preventing the chip from slowing down in a big way.
So benchmark numbers and our own short-term tests paint a pretty good picture. But what about people who've actually been using this phone day in, day out for months? Let's check out some reports from the field.
And it's not all sunshine and roses. We've seen reports from some users who talk about a hanging issue, heating problem. And they specifically mention it happens on the 8GB RAM version when they're gaming and multitasking. So this suggests the experience might not be universally smooth, and that lower RAM option could be a bottleneck. All right, it is time to bring it all together. We've looked at the promises, the benchmarks, the real-world gaming tests, and the user feedback. It's time for the final verdict.
So when you lay it all out, here's the gamer scorecard. The pros are significant. You get powerful benchmark performance that beats its direct competitors, genuinely smooth gameplay in tough titles, and fantastic thermal throttling control that preserves performance. But on the cons side, it can get noticeably warm, and there are those user reports of hanging and heating, which might be more common on the 8GB RAM models.
So where does that leave us?
Look, the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus is a mid-range phone that absolutely punches above its weight, delivering gaming performance that can genuinely challenge more expensive devices. But that power comes at the cost of heat and a potential performance bottleneck if you opt for the lower RAM model. So, the ultimate question isn't just if it's a good gaming phone. Our data shows it absolutely is. The real question is, for you, are you willing to manage the heat for a taste of near-flagship performance on a mid-range budget?